Bring the lights down low, it's time to show. Lights, camera, you know what we mean. Behold the magic of the silver screen. Some movies rock, some movies shock, they're powerful, alright. We cover them all on your favorite part. So many movies we can choose, even when you win, you lose. Life moves pretty fast, some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math, it's the 30-something movie podcast. Be excellent to each other, please have a word to your mother. They're from the best decades, movie magic that never fades. Lightsabers clash, phasers set to stun, action packed from dusk till dawn. We have deep thoughts and questions free, come share our love of the movies we see. Life moves pretty fast, some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math, it's the 30-something movie podcast.
So I walked into the bar, and there were these three guys from the 30-something movie podcast, and one of them was the biggest white guy I've ever seen. I don't know if that's me or Bo. I don't know which.
Depends on who you saw first, I think.
I guess so. We don't have Antonio Banderas's long flowing locks, though.
No, it's hard to fake that.
In fact, of the three of us that are on this podcast, like the amount of hair we have in total is probably equal to the amount of facial hair he had.
Yeah, that's also fair.
I will say for this movie, categorically, the lead actor or actresses had the most incredible hair.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was a lot of
wow.
good hair. That's for
It
sure.
was a lot of good hair in this movie.
I feel like isn't it the Greatest Generation guys that back when they were doing the Next Generation, they would do like a subset of their podcast, the Greatest Gen Hair podcast,
Yes.
and
That's right.
they would comment on the actor's hair. I feel like we've just done that now.
Well, you
Mhm.
figure you had, once Anson Mount came along, I mean,
Pikes Peak, yes. Mm-hmm.
Air Force One.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of flowing hair in this movie. But if you can't tell already, we're talking about Desperado. So,
Yes.
And we are having trouble coming to our senses.
we are. We've been out riding fences for so long.
So long now.
So long now. But we've got our reasons, and our reasons are three tonight, as there are three of us here. Bo, you've heard Pat. Gentlemen, how are you?
Well, John, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Patrick?
Yeah. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah. So we've got Desperado, the Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek movie. Every time I say Antonio Banderas, did you guys ever see the Saturday Night Live clip where, was it Horatio Sands, I think, was supposed to be like a mariachi singer, and Antonio Banderas would come on, and I don't remember what the skit was exactly, but he would come on and say something like, I believe it is time for me to undo another button on my shirt. And he undoes another button, and Horatio Sands keeps going, no, too sexy, too sexy.
That is awesome.
That's all I think. Whenever I hear, no, Antonio Banderas, too sexy. That's the skit I immediately think of every time I hear Antonio Banderas' name.
I
That
can
is
understand
awesome.
that.
Which was better than my daughter's response. She said, what movies are you doing tonight? And I was like, Desperado. She's like, I don't know that one. I said, Antonio Banderas. She's like, isn't he a baseball player? No.
Oh no.
No, I don't know who you're thinking about, but no. So-
No.
She understood when I said that I was trying to figure out movies that she might be familiar with. I was like, he was the male lead in Evita with Madonna. She's like, oh, I've never seen that one, but okay. I kind of know what you're talking about. Okay. All right. Well, we got close. So, this time we'll just jump right into it, because we got a lot of stuff to talk about, because this was a fun one. Spoiler alert,
Yes.
we spoil freely here, so be warned if we mention a movie title and you don't want to hear anything about it, just hit skip maybe a couple of times on your podcast app, and we should have gotten it out of our system. Make sure you visit our website, 30podcast.com, where you can leave us a rating, a voicemail. You could become a co-executive producer via Patreon over there and get a bunch of bonus episodes that we've got going on over there. And then we'll just jump right on into this one because we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. So this one came out on August 25th, 1995, rated R. Runtime of 1 hour, 44 minutes, directed by Robert Rodriguez, who did Once Upon a Time in Mexico and Sin City. Writer was also Robert Rodriguez, who did El Mariachi and Spy Kids. Producers for this one were Robert Rodriguez and Bill Borden. Rodriguez did Once Upon a Time in Mexico and From Dusk Till Dawn. Borden did Spy Kids and Spy Kids 2. Composer was Los Lobos. They did El Mariachi and the Mexico trilogy, basically the trilogy of movies that this kind of fits within. Cinematographer was Guillermo Navarro, who did Pan's Labyrinth and The Shape of Water. Editor was Robert Rodriguez, who did El Mariachi and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. He's doing a lot of work on his own movies.
Mm-hmm.
From what I read, that's kind of how he, at least early on, especially in his career, that's kind of how he operated. He's like, I can write the script for this in like 5 days. And they're like, well, okay, well, we got to hire this. We got to hire an editor. He's like, no, I got it. I'll edit it. They're like, well, but you need like a team of people. Nah, I got it. I'll edit it.
Okay.
So, okay. So that seemed to be kind of his MO, especially early on. I did read something interesting. I was trying to track down the actual interview, but I had kind of stumbled across a couple of things online where people had, and I'm kind of backing it up here for a second, people had said there was an interview with him at one point in time where he stated that once he kind of got to the point where he's making the kids movies, like the Spy Kids and all the other spin-offs of the Spy Kids, which it sounds like he wrote as well, that he apparently was quoted as saying that the Spy Kids movies are more him than Desperado. And those type of movies, like they embody what he feels like is his most reflective work. So I was like, oh, okay. I've never seen the Spy Kids movies, so I can't comment too much on those. But
That's interesting. It's fun when actors say that.
Yeah.
And they give you just an idea into kind of the who they are type of thing.
Well, and I wondered too, because, and I know we're kind of getting into more of like the trivia side of things on this, but I wondered too, he was, and I believe still is, pretty good friends with Quentin Tarantino. So I'm wondering, as he was getting started, was he, because there's a lot of this movie that really feels like a Quentin Tarantino movie. So I'm wondering if as he got started, was he like, hey, I'm gonna kind of work closely with my buddy, and maybe I'll make some movies kind of the way he makes movies, and then once he really kind of got some money and got established, he's like, okay, now I want to make these kids movies. Like I want to make these, I want to make them the way I want to make them, and maybe that is what ended up happening. But yeah.
Yeah. First of all, I want to apologize. I said actor. I just totally blanked. And as I said that, I realized I said, like, it's great when an actor tells you who. And I'm pulling back the curtain that I'm kind of foreshadowing a comment that I have about the next movie that we're recording tonight. So I apologize.
There you go.
Let me strike that from the record, edit, do it again. That's cool when a filmmaker tells you kind of like what movies they think really embody who they are.
Yeah.
Is what I meant to say.
Actors too. It applies to all of them. Yeah.
It's yes.
Yeah.
That being said, I totally hear what you're saying, that this really seemed to share a visual and just feel. It just shared a language with Quentin Tarantino's movies. Yeah. They feel like they're in very much the same universe. Like, to me, that whole concept that they do with Dusk Till Dawn,
right,
where they each take a half of the movie, is just they dovetail very nicely.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's see what else we got here for this one. Production company was Columbia Pictures. Budget was $7 million, so pretty teeny tiny budget comparatively. Worldwide box office about $25.5 million, so it didn't make a ton of money, but obviously did make its budget back. And Flick Metrics gives it a 68%. Cinema Score gives it a B+. Antonio Banderas plays El Mariachi. He was in The Mask of Zorro and Puss in Boots. Selma Hayek plays Carolina. She was in Frida and From Dusk Till Dawn. Joaquim de Almeida plays Bucho. He was in Clear and Present Danger and Fast Five. Steve Buscemi plays, did he have a name?
Buscemi.
Was it Buscemi?
Yeah, that's right.
Was that his name?
His name was Buscemi.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I forget the exact trivia, but he was playing someone so like himself or
Yeah.
whatever. But like,
They just left his name.
that's awesome. That is awesome.
I had that in my notes, but I was like, I may have written down the wrong thing because I don't remember what his name was.
Nope,
And it just
you're
says
dead
Buscemi.
on.
Okay. All right.
You are dead
Cool.
on.
Fargo and Con Air he was in. Cheech Marin plays the bartender. He was in From Dusk Till Dawn and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Quentin Tarantino played Pickup Guy. He was in Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs. Carlos Gomez plays Memo, the right hand. He was in The Peacemaker and In the Line of Fire. Tito Lariva played Tavo. He was in From Dusk Till Dawn and Road Racers. Angel Aviles plays Zamira. He was in Mi Vida Loca and My Crazy... Is Mi Vida Loca and My Crazy Life the same thing? Maybe I wrote down
One
two
would
things.
think.
Who knows? Who knows
knows,
what
right?
John... Who knows what confusion lurks in the mind of John? The Shadow knows. Danny Trejo played Navajas.
Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo. And every time I see Danny Trejo, all I can think of is Muppets Most Wanted. When they're saying goodnight to all the prisoners. Like, good night, Prison King. Good night, Danny Trejo. Good night. He was in Machete and From Dusk Till Dawn. Peter Marquardt.
Machete.
What's that?
Machete.
Machete. Peter Marquardt, who passed in 2014, played Moko. He was in Spy Kids 3D Game Over and The Shadow People. And Consuelo Gomez played Domino. He was in El Mariachi and Camino del Diablo. In a relentless quest for vengeance, the fiery guitar-wielding mariachi and friends storm the border town to topple a ruthless drug lord. When secrets emerge, blood will flood the streets.
I was visiting a bar, and in he walked.
You saw his face?
His face? No. I mean, every step he took towards the light, just when you thought his face was about to be revealed, it wasn't. It was as if the lights dimmed just for him.
They called him a loner.
I know who you are.
Really?
You kill drug dealers.
I killed the woman I loved. You ruined my life.
They called him a myth.
You've heard stories of that man that carries the guitar case full of weapons. Find him and kill him.
I hope you don't think you can take someone like Bucho all by yourself.
Really?
They made the mistake of calling his bluff.
Is there something in the guitar case? My guitar?
Now, it's time to face the music.
Let's play.
It's cool, I say.
Desperado, the new film from Robert Rodriguez.
All right. So,
A little, just going to throw in there a little Mambo King soundtrack in that.
oh, yeah?
I don't recall that tune being. I got to go back and listen. I was pretty into the sound. I'm just jumping way ahead.
Yeah.
I think that last. I can't. I don't think it was Mambo Caliente. I'll have to. I'm remiss in not knowing the exact name of that tune, but man, maybe it was in there and I messed up, but I could have sworn that tune was in the Mambo Kings. Anyways,
Okay. All right.
I just found that interesting.
I don't.
Sorry.
From what I remember, it wasn't in the movie.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
it was. I'm almost positive it was a Mambo Kings tune.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right. So 10 major moments for this one. We break it down into about 10 moments that summarize the story, do a little flyby for you. So we start with the bar story that starts it all. At a local Mexican bar, Buscemi spins a wild tale of a one-man massacre carried out by El Mariachi, armed with a guitar case full of guns. And I think we can establish that canonically this is in the same universe as From Dusk Till Dawn, because he does have sex machines.
It does.
He has sex machines gun belt, if we want to call it that.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah. The what do you call that type of gun?
I have
Does it
no
have a
idea.
name?
I defer to weapons expert.
Yeah. I'm not Googling it.
Let's get a weapon. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. His cod piece? I don't know.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, moving quickly on. He is armed with a guitar case full of guns. The patrons scoff at the story until he drops the name Bucho, a feared drug lord. Turns out Buscemi's not just a storyteller, he is El Mariachi's friend, kind of scoping out Bucho's turf and helping to kind of spread the legend just a bit. El Mariachi still nursing some heartbreak and revenge. So one of the early scenes we see him with, kind of bonding over a young boy over music and telling him about playing the guitar and practicing to kind of help him be a better player. And we establish that his mission here is that he came here to teach little kids guitar and shoot up bars full of gun-toting gangsters, and he's all out of bars full of gun-toting gangsters. So that's the kind of premise of the beginning of the movie here, and his mission as it is. He storms into the Tarasco bar, wipes out several of Bucho's men, wounded by Tavo, a backroom criminal, but manages to kill him. And then in the midst of all of this, Carolina, caught up in the crossfire, played by Salma Hayek, helps him to escape and hides him in her bookstore. There was a scene before this, too, kind of in between some of these, where we see Danny Trejo's character for the first time, and he shows up and he's got all those throwing knives.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that great scene where he goes and he's checking in at the payphone. We learn later on he's got to check in and give progress reports. And he walks up to the payphone and uses his knife to start stabbing the little numbers on the payphone.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. And somewhere Bill Paxton is getting very, very nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fan of knives punching toward fingers or things like that.
Yes.
So, and we get to the point where Carolina rescues him and kind of hides him in her bookstore. And while she's kind of tending to his wounds, I will say, I don't think it matters what movie you're in, what universe you're in, what it is. If you have been knocked unconscious and you come to it, and maybe this is just me as an English teacher who married a librarian, but if you've been knocked unconscious and you come to, and the first thing you say is, "Where am I?" and the person answers bookstore, I think you're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That felt very safe to me. So I felt seen in that part of the movie.
Yes.
While she is tending to his wounds, he does end up meeting later off with Buscemi at a church, tries to talk him out of his vengeance, but it's a little bit too late. And then Navajas, played by Danny Trejo, a knife-wielding assassin, ambushes them. Buscemi is killed. El Mariachi is severely injured again before Bucho's men mistakenly kill Navajas, thinking he's their target. That was kind of a little bit of a crazy scene, too, where you've got him. They pull up in that car, and I don't know that I've seen this before. They've got all the little compartments in the windows where they can just pop their guns out.
Yeah.
And some
Very efficient.
Some custom car work done there. That was kind of nice.
Yes.
So, knife beats gun for most of that scene. I mean, he's taken out most of these guys, and they brought guns to a knife fight, and they were pretty much losing for the most part. He even gets shot a few times, and the thought that kept running through my head was, Danny Trejo cannot be stopped by your weak bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Until eventually they do gun him down, and he is brutally shot down and killed. But for a time there, Danny Trejo could not be stopped by your weak bullets.
I'm just saying too, that whole, and maybe you're coming up to the next moment when they realize that, Can you identify him? We just don't want to accidentally shoot the wrong guy.
Right. Yeah. Could you say?
And then they say
so
something.
he's got a tattoo on his chest. Okay, it's a tattoo of
Yeah.
a woman. Okay. Well, he starts off and he's like, okay, so dark hair, dark skin.
No.
Yeah, right. Okay, so that doesn't narrow it down.
I think.
I figured.
Yeah. He's like,
yeah.
I figured that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there-
It's like, oh my
okay,
God, that's
so
hilarious.
he's got a tattoo on his chest. Okay. And it's of a woman. And the guy who's like pulls his vest open is almost like pulling a Vanna White and is like, look at the tattoo. It's a woman. And like, waving his hands over the tattoo. And okay. Weapons of any kind, throwing knives. Okay. All right. And money to call in regular progress reports. And then they drop like all the coins down on his dead body. Okay. Yeah. We'll definitely stay out of his way. We'll make sure to stay out of his way. So that did not go well. Let's see. El Mariachi crosses paths with the young boy again and learns a truth he did not want to learn. The kid's father uses him to smuggle drugs in his little guitars, and almost everybody in town ends up working for Bucho. In fact, he learns that Carolina reveals that Bucho financed her shop as a front, and so she also is in on the drug trade as well. Bucho stops by unexpectedly. She hides El Mariachi and finishes patching him up later. That night, Carolina gifts El Mariachi a new guitar. He plays for her his first kind of real moment of peace in the whole movie, and they end up in bed together. The calm is fairly short-lived, though, as Bucho realizes Carolina's betrayal and trouble is coming fast. Hell's coming, and I'm coming with him. That's a different movie.
It is. But the sentiment is similar.
Equal amounts of gunfire, I feel like, but
There you go.
different movie. This next part is why I believe the drug trade must be ended, because the drug dealers blow up the bookstore. El Mariachi and Carolina battle their way through the chaos, escape to the rooftop, and this is where we get probably one of the most iconic scenes in the whole movie, where I think they drop he drops a couple of grenades on some guys in an alleyway, and you have like the just absolute explosions and flame in the background as they are walking slow motion away from the as you do in an action movie.
Right.
Walking away from
It's the only time to walk away.
correct
in slow
when
motion.
something
Right.
behind you has exploded. Yeah. So with that, he actually spots El Bucho and puts him in his sights with his gun, and he hesitates and actually ends up letting him go. I mean, the whole thing is that El Bucho had, or at least his men, had killed the love of El Mariachi's life. And so that was this whole, all he had was a name to go by. And so that's why he's been trying to track him down. But as soon as he sees him, he refuses to shoot him. And then for a little stretch of time, refuses to say why he would not shoot him. We do find out here in just a little bit. Furious over his men's failures, Bucho snaps and starts killing one of his men and threatening the others. He knows El Mariachi won't stop, though, and El Mariachi knows the feeling is mutual here. Realizing he can't do it alone, El Mariachi summons his old friends Campa and Kino, and the trio take on Bucho's heavily armed crew in a brutal shootout. This is such a fun part of the movie. Because this is where you get the guitar case rocket launcher and the guitar case machine guns.
Straight out of Q Branch.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Q for Kino in this
Yes.
case.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So much fun. The only, I'm going to throw in a little criticism here for just a second. We had the scene early in the movie where, and I don't know how to say it in Spanish, however you want to translate, como se dice, Enter the Dragon, where we had the martial arts fight. And you had that one guy that was trying to prove himself, and so he had to fight.
Yeah.
Was it Christos was the guy's name?
Yes.
Or something like that. And so they were like, everybody was kung fu fighting. And then he ends up dropping Christos with a kick. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
That's all. It's in my head now. Thanks.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Sorry, not sorry. So here's my little criticism is that character was added to Bucho's gang because he had the vicious kick that took down Christos basically in one shot. And yet we never see him use it in the rest of the movie.
I was gonna say, did they just bring him in because he was really like the actor was really good with that? And
I'm going to assume so, but then he ends up dying via gunshots.
yeah,
Like I almost
Yeah.
wanted to see, at the very least, what I wanted to see was like a Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of thing where he's, like getting ready to do some martial arts stuff and getting ready, like doing some roundhouse kicks, things like that. And then El Mariachi or one of his buddies guns him down.
yes,
Like, like the sword twirling guy in the marketplace in Raiders. I wanted to at least see something like that. We don't ever see him use any of those martial arts ever again. And that was kind of like, his character's shtick when he got introduced in the movie. So that I had little criticism over that, but other than that, it was all right. So they tear up the entire town. When you absolutely positively must kill every last henchman in the street, you bring in the guitar case mafia, and they end up blowing up or killing pretty much everybody. Both of them are killed. Campa and Kino are killed, and the young boy with the guitar is wounded as well. El Mariachi rushes him to the hospital. And then finally we have kind of the final showdown at Bucho's compound, and the big twist drops, and it is that Bucho is El Mariachi's older brother, Cesar. And that is why he could not kill him early on. He offers El Mariachi a choice: walk away if he allows Carolina to be killed. El Mariachi refuses, kills Bucho, and apparently takes out the rest of his crew. We kind of fade to white and we don't get to see it. And at that point I was like, so we're just going to do a fade to white and assume that he shot his way out of the entire compound filled with gun-toting henchmen.
I thought that was pretty fun bit of business too. I was like, okay, so are we going to end here?
We're just going to end here. Yeah.
Which honestly, I wouldn't not enjoy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I would have been fine with another, huge shootout scene and see how he gets out all this. But, I guess if we might have blown the budget on the street shootout. So.
Mm-hmm. There's a good chance of that.
Yeah. Much like the Greatest Generation guys would try to keep track of how many photon torpedoes were being shot by Voyager during the course of its season. We might have shot the budget on however many rockets. I think it was 3 rockets that got shot out of the guitar case. So
yes,
that might have been the budget that led to the fade to white at the Bucho compound. Okay. So at least that's the headcanon I'm going with.
I
Why not, right?
So, after visiting the boy in the hospital, El Mariachi walks off alone, leaving his weapons behind him. But Carolina catches up as they drive off together. He throws his guitar case, but changes his mind. They back up the car, grabs the guitar case, and basically says, it's a long way to the next town. I'm getting this just in case. Which, pun intended, just in case. Yeah, so. All right. That is it for the major moments. Now, let's see if we've got any deeper thoughts on this one.
And now, deep thoughts.
I have an opinion on this matter.
Don't mince words, Bones. What do you really think?
I like it a lot.
Wow. It's very deep. Thank you.
Okay, so initial question we usually start off with is, when was the first time you saw this movie, and did you enjoy it? I think you can probably kind of tell from the way we've been talking already that we probably enjoyed this one, but when was the first time you saw this? I can jump in right away and say this is the first time I've seen this movie. I believe I have seen Once Upon a Time in Mexico. I don't believe I have seen El Mariachi, which was his first movie. He made that one in 92. And that one, I believe if I read right, he made that one for $7,000.
Yeah,
So,
it was nothing.
Crazy low budget. And because he is a director, like, takes on as many roles as he can, like the writing, the editing, the directing, the, sometimes even grabbing the camera and operating it himself. And so I think of the Mexico trilogy, I think the Once Upon a Time in Mexico may have been the only one of these movies I had seen up to this point. So this was my first viewing of Desperado. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoy, it's very much like we were talking before, it's very much got that almost kind of Quentin Tarantino kind of flavor to it. It's got the it's maybe a little bit less polished version of the From Dusk Till Dawn kind of flavor to it, and same type of humor, same type of stylized violence, like all that other stuff, and just a really, really fun action movie. And Antonio Banderas is great in this. Salma Hayek is great in this. The Joaquim de Almeida, is it Almeida, I think, is a great villain in this one too. He's kind of like the perfect drug lord kind of villain, and moments where he kind of gets to go off a little bit, and especially that scene where he's like, "Oh, is that the man there? I don't know this man. We should shoot him." And then
he has
shoots
a gun.
the guy. He has a gun. And it's like, great, kind of like classic Mexican drug lord type villain, and that we might have seen in other movies like this. But lots of fun. Just kind of like just crazy. When people, it was a little bit like, because we very, very recently did The Quick and the Dead, a little bit like that, because you had, somebody gets shot with a normal gun and they go catapulting back 40 feet.
Right.
So very, very much like the kind of very intensified, high energy, stylized, shootout type violence kind of stuff. And that, as a teenager, as an adult, like if I wanted to just shut my brain off and have fun watching like a crazy action movie and watch people, get blown up with guitar case rocket launchers. Yes, please. Yes, have some.
Yes.
So, Bo, what about you? When was the first time you saw this?
This was the first time I'd seen it.
Okay.
And yeah, it was. I was telling you guys before we started recording, I didn't know much about it, and I didn't really want to at that point. Like once I realized I've never seen it, don't know much about it, I'm just going to watch the movie and see. I wasn't expecting the humor. It just didn't. The image on the it just didn't portray humor. So I didn't know. I didn't realize. And as you both pointed out before it started, like as soon as Steve Buscemi walks in and starts the movie, you're like, okay, wait a minute. This is not going to be what I thought it was going to be. And from there, it just takes off, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a load of fun. And Salma Hayek's in it. And, you get Danny Trejo, who I don't even think has a line, but he's Danny Trejo.
Mm-hmm.
So,
He's basically the Terminator.
Yeah, like in real life. Like the man's insane. And so, yeah, like it was, I enjoyed it immensely. And it's funny because I haven't seen El Mariachi. So now I want to go see that.
Yeah. Patrick, what about you? When was the first time you saw it?
For this,
Okay.
I saw it in the last week,
all
and
first time.
It's everything you guys are saying.
Oh, ring that bell. All first time
There you go.
viewers.
Excellent, excellent fun action. The humor was there. Characters just chewing the scenery and being like their best action comedic selves. The writing was fun. The characters were just fun to look at.
Yeah.
And all the scenes you're talking about were great. And again, like you said, right from Steve Buscemi walking in the room and being like, so let me tell you this story. And then even the little bit where he's walking, it was almost like when they talk up, like he's walking in the shadows, and right when you're about to see his face, you don't. That was almost as on the nose as when in like superhero movies, what was it? Spoilers for Black Widow. Spoilers for Black Widow, everybody. But when the Florence Pugh character jumps down and like makes fun of the way the superhero landing, it's like you always land like this and throw your head back, and and it's like that. They're like making fun of the genre. So that was great. The car with all the secret bulletproof compartments. The humor that we already talked about when they're identifying which guy they were calling in, like all this stuff is great. The soundtrack was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I ordered the soundtrack. Like as soon as I got done watching the movie, I opened it up and I ordered the soundtrack, and I'm just like, yeah, on real physical media CDs, everybody.
There you go.
It's some great tunes. So, anyways, I very much enjoyed watching this movie.
So, since we're all first-time watchers, let me ask this. And Bo, you kind of already hinted at this a little bit that you didn't expect the humor part of this. What was your, your other experience with Robert Rodriguez? Is it From Dusk Till Dawn? Like, is that it, or is it something else? And did this movie surprise you? I guess, how did Desperado compare to what you expected going into it? Do you have enough other Robert Rodriguez movies under your belt? For me, as I'm looking at it, like I said, I think I have watched all the way through Once Upon a Time in Mexico. From Dusk Till Dawn may have been one of the only other Robert Rodriguez movies that I've seen that are kind of in this style as well. So I don't have a ton, other than From Dusk Till Dawn, I don't have a ton of other experience with his movies, but knowing that he directed that and co-wrote it and whatnot, I kind of feel like I had a sense of what was going to be happening going into it. But yeah, what about you guys? Like, how did this compare to what you expected going in, I guess?
Well, like I said, I did not expect the humor, because my experiences with Robert Rodriguez, Sin City,
yeah,
which does have some
got
dark humor in it.
It's got a little, but not
Not
ha-ha
like this.
humor. Yeah.
And then it's been so long since I've seen From Dusk Till Dawn, and I am not 200% sure I have seen it.
From Dusk Till Dawn?
Dusk Till Dawn?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh my.
Oh.
Because I can, like, I look at the pictures,
yeah,
and I'm like, okay, that looks somewhat familiar, but then I'm not as sure. So that might be a first watch for me too when we get into it. So yeah, most of my Robert Rodriguez is Sin City. I know he directed and EP'd some of the newer Star Wars stuff. Like he did he did 3 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett,
yes,
and an episode or 2 of The Mandalorian, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so for me it's really Sin City is my my touchstone for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, not what I was expecting at all. Yeah.
Patrick, what about you? What's your other kind of experience with him as a director, and did this kind of fit with that?
Well,
or
the big one is Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
4 Rooms, but that's been a long time since I've seen it.
Oh yeah, he did direct one of those, didn't he?
And I haven't seen El Mariachi or Once Upon a Time in Mexico. So some of this was like, oh, first time. I mean, it was very much first time watch. I wasn't like taken by surprise because like I've seen Dusk Till Dawn, and I think seeing Dusk Till Dawn kind of helps get you ready for, okay, I think I know the direction of the humor and the visual language and the whole thing. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, it didn't really like, oh wow, this was completely unexpected, but it was a first time watch, and I was, like I said, just very much enjoyed the whole thing. Enjoyed the whole ride. I'll sum it up that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, like I said, I haven't seen El Mariachi, but I'm kind of wondering if it almost has, and I'm going to show my ignorance here, is El Mariachi kind of turning into Desperado, and then obviously you've got the Once Upon a Time in Mexico. That's the trilogy, the Mexico trilogy. I'm wondering if El Mariachi, if I go watch it, am I going to feel like this is Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness? Because it feels, Evil Dead obviously was like the very low budget, film, not first film, but like one of the first major films, actually first film, of Sam Raimi. And then he had a larger budget, was able to kind of do some stuff that he wasn't able to do when he did Evil Dead. So then he made Evil Dead 2. I don't know enough about El Mariachi to know if that's kind of the pattern that these movies are following. I know the story is different enough, I believe. So it's enough of the, he's going after a local drug lord. it's the musician. He's got the guitar case, which I think the guitar case, I think also full of guns, if I read correctly. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's kind of a similar pattern to like the Evil Dead movies, but
I couldn't get over the Quentin Tarantino bit. Like some of it, they felt like just like bits. Like they just kept coming. I was really into it. I was like, okay. So yeah, I want to do the whole trilogy now. Like, and when we do Once Upon a Time in Mexico in like, I don't know, 8 years or something.
Yeah.
We should we do that, and then maybe we do a trilogy as like a Patreon thing. And
we can do that. Yeah. Go back and
kind of
go
do
back
like
to
a whole recap.
Go back and do
Gotta find El Mariachi. But
yeah. I'm convinced that Cheech Marin has got to be real nervous anytime he gets cast as somebody who, is affiliated with a bar, and it's got Robert Rodriguez and it's got Quentin Tarantino.
Because he gonna die?
Well, because he is since you haven't seen it, I won't spoil anything, but he is also in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
So
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I remember reading that even this movie didn't have such a big budget, so they only had him for like 6 days.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, we're gonna shoot this and we're gonna be done.
Right.
There was a couple of those guys that they had to do it like they only had so many days, and I think it was him, and it might have been him and Steve Buscemi. I think they were
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. I apologize. I'm not sure my audio thing. The last couple of times we've recorded, it cuts out in the middle. So I'm sorry, listening audience. I'm sorry I didn't fall asleep, so you don't have another Pat story.
That's okay. If you're in the middle of saying something and it just stops, we're just going to make up whatever you say after that.
I don't. To be honest, I can't even remember.
Can I go?
Yeah,
it's fine.
I can't remember what I was answering, but I think it was somewhere around the just about, does this track the same way that like Evil Dead does? And I've only done a little bit of reading about it, and so I'm not an expert by any means, but it seems to kind of follow that. Like the first one was low budget, and then they could do a little bit more, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. How does
I want to say I even read somewhere that El Mariachi was almost like the same kind of story as this.
Yeah, I feel like it was very similar and the same character.
Okay.
Yeah. The one thing I meant to go look at, and I did very briefly, but I need to kind of refamiliarize myself with it, is looking back at Antonio Banderas's filmography, because I feel like we've talked a little bit about how, as we got into the late 80s and we're getting into the 90s, we're kind of, especially with like a Bruce Willis, kind of reimagining what the, male action movie lead looks like. And I'm trying to remember before this, what else was Antonio Banderas in that would have been an action movie? And I don't recall him being in any action movies. And like of the American movies that he's been in, because one of the earliest American movies I remember him being in wasn't he the boyfriend in Philadelphia? He was, he was the boyfriend in Philadelphia. I believe he was the boyfriend in Philadelphia. He was Armand the Vampire in Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
But I think this is his first time as a lead in an action movie.
Mm-hmm.
At least of the movies I've seen. So how did that work for you? Because he's not necessarily, I don't know that you would until this movie, and even with some of the movies he did after this. I mean, he's in a few action movies here and there. He's, Mask of Zorro. He's in, there was the movie The 13th Warrior. He was in some other action type stuff after this, but, do you think of him necessarily as your quintessential action lead? And if not, does that work for him in this?
I think it works. I think he does a great job with it. Like I was fun watching him. He definitely had the swagger, and I didn't really give it a second thought until you brought it up that he really hasn't been in a lot of other action movies, but I think it works.
he's got a little bit of a Clark Kent thing going on. When he's got his hair pulled back, he kind of looks a little bit, a little nerdy, a little unassuming maybe. And then when the hair comes down, then he's a little bit more intimidating, and he looks like he's going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
So he does kind of have that going for him. Like he's the intensity of his look in the fight scenes, and just the kind of as he's killing every last henchman in the room. He definitely looks a little crazed in some of those scenes, and not someone to be trifled with.
Yes.
So, and Patrick, I think you also commented on Salma Hayek and all that she brings to this movie.
Yeah. She, well, I mean,
should I play the drop?
Go play the drop, man. That just sums it up.
There we go.
I mean, it's she's an attractive gal. I'll leave it at that. It's
and she owns a bookstore.
And she owns a bookstore. So there, you can leave it at that.
Yeah.
Like, she makes my little heart go pitter pat. but she does a great job in the film too.
Yeah.
The way she acts the parts, like, and it's funny because, she brings like when she's upset or the sadness or the fear or the, angry, when she's taking the guys down, but sometimes she just kind of brings down to earth humanity, like just kind of, she brings a little bit of like, you're in this very eccentric, comedic levels action world, and she'll just kind of fix you with a look or use a line or say something that really kind of just brings it down and makes it just seem natural and normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like she puts a very human aspect into all these like caricature type characters.
Yeah. And
that makes sense.
Especially the scene where she's trying to like sew up his bullet wounds. Like she brings a lot of humor to those scenes too, because you got the part where she's giving him some more painkillers and he reaches for the water, but it's the hot water. And I think the funniest part of that, part of the funniest part is she continues to have to sew him up every time he gets shot. So different times in the movie, she's not great at it. And my favorite part about the first time around is like, how do you know how to do this? And she holds up a book because she's in a bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
And the book is like how to remove a bullet and how to sew it back up again. And I'm like, okay, that's great. She's like, yeah, no, I'm figuring it out.
Yep. That is awesome.
Yeah. And this would have been straight if you would have stopped moving around.
Right.
No. Well, I definitely, it was a lot of fun to be able to watch this movie, especially, and Sin City, I kind of left that off my list too. I've also seen Sin City several times.
Yes.
Yes. But, for my experience with Robert Rodriguez, I want to go see some more of his that I have missed. The Machete movies, the Planet Terror, stuff like that. I definitely want to watch those because I have not seen those yet. But I think now being able to add this and knowing that we're going to be doing From Dusk Till Dawn next year, which was one of my favorite movies at that time in the mid to late 90s. So I'm really excited to be able to pull that one out next year and come back to that and get another example of his filmmaking. But it's just before we go into our three questions, like some of my final thoughts on this one are it's just a lot of fun. You can tell he's buddies with Quentin Tarantino because it's got a lot of that feel to it. It's got some of that humor to it, but he's got his own particular spin on things. And it is just such a fun action movie. Like it almost reaches a point where, was that Hot Shots or Hot Shots Part 2, where they're like counting up the number of people that have been killed, and is it like Terminator levels and RoboCop levels? And, yeah, it kind of feels like there should be a kill count on the bottom of the screen in this movie when we got the street shootout.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yes.
How many other henchmen from central casting do we have here that we can blow away in really creative ways?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So, all right. Any other final thoughts about the movie before we go into Trace questions?
I think we can. Well, I don't know if Bo has anything. I think we can go into Trace questions. It was just a bonkers, crazy, fun movie with a lot of people that were fun to watch on screen.
And I think bonkers is a really good way to put it too. Bonkers, crazy fun. There we go. That's our review for this movie. Bonkers, crazy fun.
Yeah, right there with you.
Yeah, and don't bring a gun to a knife fight when Danny Trejo's involved.
No kidding.
Yeah. I did feel like the one guy like threatened him when he walks into the bar and they're like mopping up all the blood and piling up the bodies. I'm like, that dude brought a mop to a knife fight and he's going to die if Danny Trejo decides that he's not happy with this going on here. But yeah.
Exactly.
The other funny part before we get into the 3 questions, the other funny part is when all the guys have died in the bar and Bucho is there and then like the American like college kids come walking into the Mexican bar and he turns around and he's like, "Can you not tell we are closed?"
Yeah. That's awesome. And those kids, like, that was just like bonkers crazy fun. It was just full of those things.
They were there for some cultural exchange and got more than they bargained for.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It is time for Trace questions.
He asks each traveler 5 questions. 3 questions. 3 questions.
It's impossible to answer.
Impossible because you don't know the answer.
Nobody could answer that question.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Question number 1. Question uno. You're walking into a bar in a dusty border town. What do you hide your weapons in? I'll go first to give you an idea of kind of what I'm thinking here, because I feel like it has to be something that fits with my personality. So I can't play the guitar. I'm not walking in with a guitar case. I'm not walking in with any kind of musical instrument whatsoever because I can't play any musical instrument. I feel like I am walking in with a comic book long box full of guns. Or a comic book long box that fires rockets.
There you go.
Either way, I think that probably fits well with what I'm bringing to the party here. Yeah.
I think for me, like just a simple briefcase.
Okay.
You know?
You're pulling a James Bond.
Yeah, a couple of good guns in there, and as you pointed out, maybe some sort of, maybe since it's a briefcase, not so much a missile, but possibly maybe another gun stashed in the edge of the briefcase. So you can like reach down and hit a guy across the room and no one notices.
Get like a little retractable knife blade in there somewhere.
Ooh, there you go.
For a little, if you got to get like a little close combat.
Well, yeah, you just swing it really quick and knife to the neck.
Yeah, slice through somebody's jugular, and
exactly.
Yeah, excellent. Patrick, what about you?
Well, I was going to go on the nose and say, a trumpet case, but that might be a little bit. That would be on the nose.
I mean, I kind of thought you'd be something like that.
But I'm actually going to go John Wick style. I'm going to give all spoilers for John Wick. You guys too, hosts, if you haven't seen it. But I'm just going to go with one of those John Wick fitted bulletproof suits.
There you go.
Because if you guys have seen the John Wick movies, you know that, like, you know those suits of which I speak.
So
definitely.
So you're saying you are the weapon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Question number 2. What is your favorite bookstore?
Oh.
I know.
The Tattered Cover.
Oh, where's that at?
Denver, I think.
Oh, okay. Tattered Cover. I wonder if I've been to Denver. I wonder if I went there because I usually try to scope out bookstores.
It's a big sucker.
Huh.
Or it was when I was there.
Did I go there? That's a good question.
Tattered Cover Bookstore. Yeah, it was, and I went many years ago before like the big bookstore was really a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just huge.
Did I go? Yes, I did go there. This looks very familiar. Okay. Yes. Yep. I did go there. Yeah. When I went to Denver for a kind of like a long weekend trip, or almost maybe like a short week trip, and for work. And I remember I had like an extra day, either on the front end or back end of the trip, and I was like, I got to hit up if I can find some bookstores. I had to hit up Mile High Comics, which is like the biggest bookstore, the biggest comic bookstore in the world. So I definitely had to hit that up. But yes, I'm looking at pictures. It looks very familiar. So yes, I was there.
Yeah, it's a great spot.
Yeah. All right. If anybody's going to Denver, Tattered Cover, great bookstore. Go there.
Tattered Cover. All right.
Patrick, what about you? What's your favorite bookstore?
You know what? I'm not going to be able to answer this, especially in the company that I'm keeping right now. This is hard. There's been bookstores that I've been to, and it's kind of like a one-off thing. And I'll tell you, the bookstores that always, like we went to the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island. I loved walking to the bookstore, seeing what was available there. I know that's touristy, kind of like, buy the book type stuff, but I always get suckered into that. The National Air and Space Museum. Every time I went there, I'd spend a lot of money in the bookstore and all that kind of thing. When Tammy and I went on, we went on our honeymoon. We there was a bookstore up in Lake Geneva that I went into and just about spent every dollar, maxed out credit card, just walking through. And I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
But that was awesome. And I know that this is what is it? It's not. Is it Sleepless in Seattle when Tom Hanks opens and then Meg Ryan? Is that
You've Got Mail?
Seattle?
You've Got Mail. Yeah.
It might as well be Sleepless in Seattle, but
it's
okay. Yeah, I get all those messed up. But I know
as you should.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're just
whole
other conversation.
It's part of the Tom Hanks Meg Ryan multiverse.
Exactly.
But the thing that got me, I'm going to be that guy, is Borders. When Borders came about, I mean, I don't know. I was just talking to Dominic today about a book that I saw when I up in the Eau Claire, Wisconsin Borders, Books and Music. Like, I don't know how many times I would go and just money would be just flowing from, the wallet to get new CDs, new books. That mass market kind of like big bookstore thing that worked on Pat because he spent a lot of money there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You mentioned Borders. That was one of my favorite bookstores. The Borders in downtown Chicago, across from Water Tower Place.
Yeah.
That was a lovely bookstore. I'm going to go with one. However, the one I'm going to go with it was one that started in Chicago, and there is a location still in Chicago, but the one that I, at some point in time, when we're not toting around two small children that are very cranky and not wanting to be there anymore, I need to be able to go back to Powell's City of Books in Portland, Oregon. Because that place is, it was so huge. Like, you could spend, I don't even know how much time you could spend in that store, but it was massive. It was a massive bookstore.
Awesome.
And we had, what is it? I was trying to look it up here and see. I think it's 68,000 square feet, 1.6 acres of retail floor space.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yes. The City of Books has 9 color-coded rooms and over 3,500 different sections.
Dang.
Yeah. So if anybody is ever in downtown Portland, Oregon, and loves bookstores, I think you got to go there, because it's like the king daddy of all bookstores. At least that I've experienced up to this point.
Cool.
So, unfortunately, when we were there, we had 2 small children in tow, and they were not interested in being in a bookstore. We had limited time to be there. They were not cooperating, so Mom and Dad didn't have as much chances to look at things they would like to look at, and so it was not the fun experience we were hoping to have had there. But if we ever get a chance to go back to Portland at some point in time, I would, if I could find cheap airfare, I'd almost just go to Portland just to go to the bookstore and then come back.
That would be cool.
So, but yeah. But they do have a location in Chicago as well. So if anybody's listening to this and you're in Chicago, they also have, it's not anywhere near as big as the one in Portland, but it is also, and basically the answer for this question, I could pick just about any mom and pop used bookstore that I've come across at any point in time, because they're all fun and amazing, and they all smell like old books, and they're just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So
cool.
Yeah,
I agree.
Did a very, very cool, and I'm probably going to butcher how it's supposed to be pronounced, but Hodges Figgis is one of the most famous bookstores in Dublin, and so when we were there, we definitely made a trip over there to check some stuff out, got a couple of books while I was there. That was also a really nice bookstore as well. So, cool. All right. And then finally, question number 3. You are in an old school revenge flick. What is the theme song that plays during your final shootout at the end of the movie?
I was going to say something. I was going to say something from this soundtrack because it was so awesome, and I was going through it. But I guess I would have to say my gut reaction before I heard this soundtrack and really listened to it would be Gladiator soundtrack, when I forget what the cue is called, but it's when they have the first fight in the Colosseum.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's actually called Barbarian Horde, or maybe that Barbarian Horde is the lead up to the battle. In any event, it's when they're supposed to be him and his buddies are supposed to be the Barbarian Horde, and they're fighting against the other folks that are the gladiators.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm going to go with, because there's a moment in the middle of the song that I think is perfect for a climactic showdown, gun shootout, whatever is going on. But also being an 80s music fan, it might not be an obvious answer, but I'm going to go In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins.
Nice.
Because I feel like you've got some build up, you've got, you got a little bit of build up. It can be kind of like, moody and tense and whatnot, and then you got that drum solo that comes, and I feel like when the drum solo comes, like that's when the guns start blazing. So
I can see that.
I'm going, might be a little bit of an ironic choice, but I'm going to go with, it's no Blaze of Glory, but it's what I'm going with.
There you go.
Bo, when you've got to kill every last person in the room, what are you putting on your Bluetooth?
I like a little juxtaposition. I like a little, I could do Il Fortuna.
Mm-hmm.
I could do the Colon Alleluia.
Oh, yeah.
I could certainly do, what was, do you remember the movie
Alamo?
Boondock Saints?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, when Willem Dafoe's character would put the headphones in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, can walk around the room conducting while he. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. If I'm pushed to that point, I'm doing something like that.
You're going full Willem Dafoe.
Oh yeah, because if you push me to that point already, I might as well.
Yeah,
like, I got nothing to lose.
Right. Excellent choices. All right, well. So everybody be very afraid, because we've all got our soundtracks picked out, and if you mess with us, we're coming for you. Is all I'm saying. So that is it for Desperado, and we are very, very close to the end of our vengeance month. We've almost exacted our vengeance. We've almost gotten the Rewenge out of our systems. We've got one more movie coming up here at the end of the month. Die Hard with a Vengeance is our last one for Vengeance Month. So far this month, we've had our Patreon was the new Superman movie, Patreon short, Fantastic Four, First Steps, And then the regular episodes this month, we had 7. We had The Usual Suspects. We had The Quick and the Dead. Lethal Weapon 3 from 92 was our 10th anniversary rewatch. Desperado. And then next week is Die Hard with a Vengeance. And then we've got a whole new topic coming up the next month after that. But fun time this month. A lot of action movies, a lot of fun stuff this month. And we'll have more fun stuff next month as well. So thank you, Bo, and thank you, Pat, for being here.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
All right. Everybody, be excellent to each other. In fact, if you're not excellent to each other, we will come after you. And we have the songs picked out with which to come after you. So be excellent to each other. Go watch some good movies. And we'll see you back here next time.
Bring the lights down low, it's time to show. Lights, camera, you know what we mean. Behold the magic of the silver screen. Some movies rock.